Okay, let's dive into this. Welcome to The Explainer. Today, we're unpacking a truly fascinating story that perfectly captures the tension between modern wealth and traditional knowledge. The core premise here is just as stark as it gets. Picture this. You've got a wildly wealthy family. They are quite literally surrounded by a mountain of food, yet they're slowly starving. Why? Because a massive natural crisis hits, and suddenly all that money is just useless paper. And the absolute crazy part? The only thing that can save them from starvation is a so-called dirty traditional trick, one that the family matriarch absolutely despises. It's a brilliant, real-world case study on survival, ego, and the undeniable power of practical science. So what actually happens when money fails? Well, to really grasp the mechanics of what unfolds here, we have to look at the emotional core of the situation. We're not just talking about abstract science today. We are anchoring this whole scientific breakdown of bioloss to something incredibly raw, a mother's desperate need to feed her hungry 3-year-old daughter. When the chips are down and survival is literally on the line, all those invisible boundaries of what's considered high status or acceptable, yeah, they completely vanish. Section 1. Pride and simplicity. Right away, we see this massive, glaring contrast between our two main worlds. On one side, we have Gari. She comes from a super humble farming background. She's incredibly resourceful, values hard work, and she grew up relying on traditional local solutions, what we might call desi hacks. For Gari, utilizing something like cow dung as a daily fuel source, that's just practical everyday life. But then on the exact opposite side of the spectrum, we have the Haveli. This is the grand estate of her in-laws, ruled with an iron fist by her mother-in-law, Rama Devi. The Haveli is incredibly wealthy, obsessed with status, and entirely reliant on this expensive, specially imported dry wood for cooking. Rama Devi actually views Gari's traditional practices as offensive. She thinks they're dirty and totally beneath their high social standing. So we've got a classic clash cooking here, practicality versus pure prestige. Which brings us to section 2, 15 days of rain. Okay, let's walk through this timeline because things go south fast. Day 1. A heavy, unrelenting rain begins. No big deal, right? Well, by day 3, the Haveli's expensive imported dry wood starts getting damp from the sheer humidity and all the roof leaks. Fast forward to day 15. The rain literally hasn't stopped. The entire village is flooded. Now, the Haveli is absolutely packed with sacks of flour, rice, lentils, expensive ghee, spices, the whole shebang. But it is entirely useless. Why? Because the wood is soaked through. Actually, scratch that. It's waterlogged. It won't catch fire at all. It just spits out thick smoke. The kitchen hearth goes completely cold. For days, the family tries to survive on dry snacks, but by day 15, they are staring genuine starvation right in the face. All that wealth literally cannot buy a dry fire. Section 3. Gari's Desi Hack. Now, with her 3-year-old daughter Mithi crying from hunger, Gauri decides she's had enough. She takes matters into her own hands. Over 2 days, she secretly uses a step-by-step method to build a fully functional biogas digester. Now, what's really interesting about this is the exact scientific mechanics she uses. First, she heads to the cowshed and digs a pit in a dry corner. Second, she takes fresh cow dung and mixes it with an equal amount of water to create a thick slurry. Third, and this is absolutely crucial for the science to work, she takes an old tin drum, inverts it over the pit, and completely seals the edges with wet mud. This prevents any air from getting in or gas from leaking out. Fourth, she connects a small plastic pipe to the top of the drum, sealing that with mud too. And finally, she runs that pipe to a hidden, unused brick stove in an old kitchen, and just waits for the whole mixture to ferment. Section 4. Miracle of the Blue Flame. So the suspense is really building over 2 grueling days of hunger for the family. But on the third evening, Gauri checks her secret setup and notices the tin drum has slightly lifted. That's a clear sign gas pressure has built up. So what is actually happening inside that sealed drum? Well, we're looking at the creation of biogas. Because Gauri sealed the drum with mud, she created an oxygen-free or anaerobic environment. Inside, bacteria are going to town, breaking down the organic cow dung waste, and in the process releasing methane gas. When Gauri finally opens the valve and strikes a match, there's no smoke, there's no foul smell, just a clean, bright blue flame, exactly like what you'd see on a modern gas stove. Thanks to this clever anaerobic digestion, she is finally able to cook up some warm roti and dal for her starving daughter. But the smell of that cooking food inevitably drifts through the Haveli, and it draws the attention of the matriarch. Now, when Rama Devi discovers Gauri cooking, her immediate reaction isn't relief, oh no, it's absolute arrogant fury. Remember, she had previously declared, "Food will not be cooked with dung in this Haveli, even if we all starve." She sees the source of the fuel and instantly accuses Gauri of polluting her pristine, high-status home. She's totally blind to the perfectly clean blue flame right in front of her face. The dramatic tension here is just palpable. You literally have ego fighting a boxing match against the basic human need to survive. But almost immediately, Gauri's husband Ravi steps in, drawn by the yelling and the smell of the food. He takes one look at the smokeless fire and delivers this incredibly powerful defense. He says, "In this reign, your money was useless. Today, if anything has saved us, it is Gauri's traditional skill." He points out that his own stomach is aching, his little girl was crying, and his mother is shivering from weakness. With that, he completely shuts down Rama Devi's misplaced pride, and it marks a massive turning point in the family dynamic. He sits down and chooses to eat the food, totally validating Gauri's ingenuity. Section 5. The Defeat of Ego. Late that night, after finally eating a warm meal cooked over that biogas flame, Rama Devi's pride completely shatters. She realizes that all the wealth in the world means absolutely nothing if you don't have practical survival skills. She actually walks into the kitchen, takes Gauri's rough, mud-stained hands in her own, and just breaks down in tears. She apologizes for mocking Gauri's traditional roots, openly admitting that her money and the high walls of the Haveli utterly failed them. It was Gauri's deep, practical connection to the earth that actually saved their lives. Section 6. Power of Traditional Knowledge. And this brilliantly illustrates how Gauri's local hack scaled up to save the entire village. Because you see, Gauri's solution doesn't just stop at the Haveli. Neighbors, smelling the food, start showing up at the gates. Gauri invites them all in and feeds the starving villagers with warm food, her blue flame burning steadily the whole time. But more importantly, she scales her knowledge. The very next day, she basically becomes a village teacher. She goes house to house, teaching the other women her biogas method. She proved, without a shadow of a doubt, that traditional wisdom is a vital survival tool. She showed everyone that no work, not even handling cow dung, is too small or dirty when it provides life-saving warmth and sustenance. The Haveli, which was once known only for its arrogant wealth, transformed into a beacon of community survival, and it was all thanks solely to the daughter-in-law's rural ingenuity. As we look back at Gauri's remarkable resourcefulness, I want to leave you with this question. In the race for modernity, how much of our valuable traditional wisdom are we leaving behind? We so often equate the absolute newest technology with the best solutions. But as this explainer clearly shows, sometimes the most profound, life-saving science is rooted deeply in the ancient, practical knowledge of our ancestors. Seriously, think about the skills you've discarded just because they seemed outdated. They might just be the exact tools you need when the modern world fails. Thanks for joining me on this explainer today. I really hope this sparks some curiosity for you, and I'll catch you on the next one.